You're listening to Coffee, Chaos, and ProdSec. I'm Kurt Hendel, a developer turned defender who maps attack paths before breakfast and has zero patience for compliance theater. With me is Cameron Walters, an AppSec fanatic who has modernized more pipelines than most teams have shipped features. We cut through the noise and talk product security the way practitioners actually live it. So grab your coffee, Chaos, and ProdSec starts now. Before we get into it, as always, 5 stars, follow, like, subscribe, comment,
Smash
find
the
us on
smash.
LinkedIn, smash the smash, as always. We don't bite. Come chat us up on LinkedIn. We like engaging the community. We're on Slack, we're on Discord, and we're on YouTube.
We're on YouTube.
It's official.
Whoop whoop.
Finally made it.
Yeah, I mean, like we were supposed to say, I felt like the whole time I was like, should I edit in a part that says that the intro last week's been like, hey, we're on YouTube this week? But I was like, well, we'll just do it in the next episode.
Yeah, we'll figure it out. But we're here. We made it.
We're here. We made it.
We're stoked for this topic, which we kind of planned it last minute, but again, we were like ready to go. It's becoming a theme, man. There's a lot of OWASP top 10s for AI.
There is.
There's like 5.5. Well, 5 plus the honorary one because of NHIs and how they're exploding. So we figured we should talk about that.
Yep. Yeah, I mean, it makes sense. There's a lot of, I don't know. I love the line that we wrote in there that essentially, if it's true that there is roughly 6, honorary title with NHIs, AI top 10s created in the last 2 years.
Yeah,
2 years.
That's bananas.
That's bananas.
That's absolutely bananas.
All right, but what are we drinking? What do we drink? I'm hyped, dude. I'm antsy. I'm standing. I had to do standing desk.
You got a new cup.
I got a new cup. Yeah, I'll go first because you've had the new sweet cup, and I got my 2, and now I have it. But I have my Coffee, Chaos, and ProdSec actual podcast mug. You were drinking from the same one, matching mugs. Yes, so I'm super stoked about that. But this week I'm drinking Boss. It's not Rainbow Boss. I know I keep drinking Rainbow Boss, but it is yeah, it's Boss. Was it fresh brew, brewed hot, and it says chilled fast. Cold cafe latte. I don't know how to say that. LULAIT. Right?
Don't know. Never seen that one before.
I've never seen that one before. I'll ask my wife later. She speaks French. She'll be like,
sounds fancy.
Oh, it's this.
She's gonna be like, Cameron, that's French for latte, dude.
Right? I'm gonna be like, oh wow, I just made a fool of myself. So, but what are you drinking?
New beans. For anyone who's been itching for there to be new beans in the machine, I got the bag. It's
a thing.
Sight glass. It's Vivid is the coffee. It says organic, light, bright, floral, and nuanced. I don't get a lot of floral. I think they're supposed to be citrus, but it's also light roast, so I'm probably going to be super amped at the end of this because I tend to stick to medium roast for more balanced caffeine. And light roast, I'm just going to be going off because this is the 3rd cup and it's an extra large cup today.
Wait,
you gotta fill the new mug.
Light cup has more caffeine? I thought it was dark roast that have more caffeine.
It's backwards.
Am I dyslexia perfectly swapping that this whole time with my brain?
I'm gonna confirm it live.
You're gonna
right
go
here.
Consult the oracle of Googleness to see
whatever the search engine is these days.
Whatever the kids are using these days.
The difference between dark and light roast is minimal and depends entirely on how you measure the coffee. So maybe it's a myth.
Okay. I thought it was. Okay, I was like, I either thought that dark roast was had more caffeine, but then I was like, I think that was a myth. Maybe it's right. It's like how you brew it.
Supposedly, it's between like 2 and 5%. I grind it. Well, my machine does the espresso grind, so it's very fine. It forces the water through that high pressure chamber, so I get all the goodness. And that's probably why I'm always amped on caffeine. I should probably have one less cup on Friday morning to not be out of control when we get here.
Yeah, but that's fair.
It just adds to the excitement. So newbies,
New
These
beans.
will probably be switched out before next week too. So bring something different next week.
There you go. I know there are listeners who are very concerned the fact that you don't rotate through your coffee fast enough for them. So
You don't want that.
you
That's
got
too
to
much
do it
caffeine
for the
for Kurt.
people. You got to buy smaller bags. Is what's got to happen. You got to buy smaller
These are already.
bags.
This is a 10.9 ounce bag. It's not even a pound. So I can only drink so much coffee, and my wife is even helping me. Like if I rip through that coffee too fast, I'm never gonna sleep.
That what you need to do is you need to get containers. Coffee bean, like we have
Oh
those. We have coffee bean containers that seal it, and then I have multiple, so I can like pick between. I'm like, ooh, today I'm feeling. You can go get that. What was it? The pineapple Malibu or something. I can't remember what it was called.
What, the Bones coffee?
Yeah, the Bones Coffee pineapple one.
I don't know. I don't. Pineapple and coffee doesn't sound right to me. So
I
there's
mean,
people that are gonna be like pineapple on pizza. Like I wasn't a believer, and now I kind of am. So hate me all you
I
want.
love pineapple on
Hawaiian
pizza.
pizza is not bad. My
It's
wife
good.
changed my mode of thinking on that one. And the brewery nearby where I live makes a pretty good pineapple or Hawaiian pizza.
Hmm. What about so in Austin? I didn't find this out, but when here, it's very common. They have lavender syrups that they put in coffee, and that is delicious.
I
So
know
would
you
you?
get that at your cafe. I would
All the
try
time.
it.
It's delicious.
Um, I've never encountered it. I have a bunch of lavender plants in my backyard, so it smells great and it
There
supports
you
the
go. So
bees.
go make a syrup.
But I should chop some of the flowers off and make some.
Mm-hmm. Be good.
They're
All
not
right.
growing yet though, so I gotta wait.
Yeah. Soon. It's only a matter of
It's
time.
brewing, self brewing.
Yeah. All right. So why are we talking about all these OWASP AI top tens? I know we were chatting. I mean, like our normal podcast workflow, right? We finish recording our episode on Fridays, and then we're like, all right, what are we going to talk about next week? And we were throwing all kinds of ideas around. I know for me, I just wanted to post on LinkedIn and be like, guys, like, does everyone know that there's technically 5 top tens for AI? And it's like, and they're only been here. Like, I didn't even know that they'd only been created in the last couple of years. Like,
Yeah,
that's just bananas.
it's technically, if you count the machine learning one, it's like that was what, 2023. So
Yeah.
it's in the last 3 years we've gotten 6 of these, but 5 of them have been since 2024, where the Gen AI explosion happened.
Yeah.
And since then, it's like one after another. And I think one, it showcases the pace at which AI has advanced. Like it used to be kind of machine learning and AI have been around for 15 plus years. And now it's like in the last 2 years, it's changing so fast. These OWASP top 10 projects illustrate that. And I don't think it necessarily speaks to that this is maturing. It's the technology is moving fast, and the security community is seeing the urgency there.
Yeah. Yeah. It's very much true. We're trying to highlight that there are key risks around AI. And I understand the methodology and the reason to create a top 10. It creates noise, it creates urgency, it creates from a practitioner side. Here are 10 things that you should be considering.
Yeah.
But I have problems with 5, 6 OAuth's AI top 10s. I mean, I think I'm going to get a little spicy, maybe a little, controversial, but I'm asking a
By
question.
default.
Yeah, true. I mean, it's why we're here. It's a question that I really have to the industry: is why do we need 6 OAuth top 10s? Why? I can't. Like, I've been rationalizing it. I was at my meetup earlier, and I was talking with other folks, and I was like, did you know about that? And we chatted about that. And obviously, we chatted about all the other crazy AI stuff that happened this week. But everybody was like, really? Like, most people didn't know that there were technically 5 or 6
Yeah.
OAuth top 10s that are AI, and they are all kind of off put once I had mentioned that, because they're like, wait, there's that many. But then I was like, all right, well, let's ground it. And I'm trying to think of like both sides, and it makes sense. But looking at the OWASP top 10 for web application security, you could argue that majority of the OWASP top 10 web app security, I think, besides the community one that's usually a direct vulnerability or like CVE or attack vector, so 9 of those could be their own top 10s. Like, they have supply chain. supply chain.
Yeah.
That whole thing could have a whole, like each one of those could have a top 10 in there, but it's all collapsed into
Really?
one. And could you imagine if we took the same approach for web app security that AI is kind of trending right now? Could you imagine that?
Yeah.
There would be a what, 10, at least 10 OWASP top 10s there for
You
web
know,
apps?
top 100, man.
Yeah, top 100. But is that where we're headed? That's my other question is in 2 years, like we're saying, 4 or 5 of them have been made. Is it by the end of this year, right? I'm being sassy and snarky here, but like, are we going to have a vibe code top 10? Are we going to have a harness top 10? Are we going to have, IDE, interface top 10? Are we going to have, I don't know, some weird agentic, AI agent top 10 thing? I don't know. I just feel like, is that going to keep happening? Like, what happens next month when the whole industry of AppSec or of AI shifts and everyone's like, this is how you code now, right? No longer we're done with agents. We're doing this now.
Right.
Boom, or AI agentless, right? Like top 10. Like
It's going to keep evolving. And frankly, I'm a little surprised that the top 10 for web apps didn't evolve into something more. I feel like the top 10 became a thing. It's very popular. 10 things are easy to digest. They're generally high level, but like you said, you can make a ton of stuff under like a ton of subcategories or sub risks under each item.
Yeah.
And so why do we have 5 or 6 OWASP top 10s for different flavors of AI? Why don't we just have one for AI with the same 10 categories, and then you can have subsets under each of them? Like if
Yeah.
we stick with the classic example or the well-known pattern, that's kind of what should be happening, but it's not. And now all of these projects have different people, and I get it. There's all kind. It's moving fast. There's different flavors of AI. There's LLMs. There's agents. There's MCP servers. There's skills. What's the other one? NHIs is an
Yeah.
honorary member of this group, and of course
Yeah.
machine learning, because it's all grounded in that originally.
Yeah.
So they're all related. And I think you and we spent some time actually digging through this and
Yeah.
finding there's a ton of overlap.
Classic. Definitely. You keep talking while I reset my
You're,
camera.
you're frozen again. Cameron's got to run away and do the. You got. Sometimes
Dude.
you just got to kick it.
Dude,
Get a
every time
preview.
it's one of those days apparently.
It's on the
Well,
fritz today.
it's on the fritz. It is definitely on technology, always fighting
It
me.
needs a top 10.
It needs a top 10. I have a top 10 for my camera. Yeah, 100%.
You have a top 10 for your PC. The camera is number one.
Number one. Yeah, my number one risk keeps knocking out every time. But I know in this episode we're excited because we obviously at the end of this we will go over our condensed top 10 where we took all of the top 10s and tried to put them into one single top 10, and then I have my own spicy top 10. But
You made a fun one. I made a boring one because I was off blacksmithing again yesterday.
Yeah, you're off blacksmithing. I sat at home and just looked at OS top 10s. But
in the OWASP top 10.
We're going to jump into each one and we're going to talk about each one for like a couple minutes and just go over, call out a few things to set the tone. But before we get into that, I have a really spicy thing I want to say.
Get it.
All right. Is the reason we have so many AI top 10s is because everybody's trying to get street cred?
I see. Could be.
Because I was talking with some other professionals and I was telling them that like, hey, like there are professionals telling students to go get CVEs, right? Go find some vulnerabilities in open source, get some CVEs under your name so you can pad your resume. And my other question is like, I know everybody who's building these things, again, like I'm not trying to be mean here. I know everybody's doing it from a goods point. We're trying to highlight risk. We're trying to call these things out in an isolated way. But my big concern is obviously that by the end of this year, we're going to have another 3 top 10s, and another, in another year, we'll have another couple top 10s. Most people don't know this too, that there are over 20, probably I think 25 OWASP top 10s in general.
Yeah.
So we had an episode where we talked about that in when the new OWASP top 10s came out, or the new OWASP web app one. We talked about those. So very interesting that there's that many in general. So I don't know.
there's top tens for things like you'd never even think there were top tens for. It all depends on the
Yeah.
community, the project, see a
The
need, fill a need.
maritime top 10 is always the one that
Yeah,
comes to my
that
brain.
one was the one I was thinking of, like for
Yeah.
boats.
Yeah. For boats. I'm like, all
Just
right.
I guess we need a project for the top 10 on your camera or PC or whatever it is.
Yeah.
We'll create that one next.
Keep making them.
But
All right. Well, let's go into the first one. This one, machine learning, OS top 10, created in 2023. Do you want to read through the controls? You want me to?
I mean, the we can both do it. So the very first one is input manipulation attack. I think this one's easy to see the connection all the way through on, obviously. The next one is data poisoning attack, model inversion, membership inference, model theft. Let's see, AI supply chain attacks. That's listed in machine learning before anyone started like really
Hmm.
saying AI supply chain. Transfer learning attack. That one's a bit more obscure. Model
Yeah.
skewing, output integrity attack, and the very last one, model poisoning.
Hmm.
So I count at least four of those in my brain, maybe more, because I'm not thinking clearly while I speak all the time, that are probably involved in the top 10 for LLMs.
Yeah. I'm thinking the same. Like, I kind of look at input manipulation attack kind of feels like an injection attack, right? And I
Right.
believe
That's
in,
input manipulation.
yeah, and that is part of the OWASP for, I'm trying to find it now. I thought I had this, did like my browser refresh?
LLMs, it has prompt injection as number
There it
one.
is. I clicked on the wrong one. Yeah, prompt injection. So very similar, sensitive. They have supply chain in the other one too.
So
So
LLM 04 is
yeah,
data and model poisoning. They condense two into one.
condense into one. So yeah, I mean, it's fascinating, like looking at these and kind of thinking it in that perspective of like how can we collapse these, but it makes sense. I mean, in 2023, what we were all talking about, data poisoning, model poisoning, that was a big thing.
Yep.
Everyone was like, you got to watch out, you got to make sure your model's not being polluted by XYZ data. Do we even really talk about that today? Is anyone really
Well,
concerned? It's, or is it
I
just
think we
like
do.
baseline
It's
now?
just in the context of like the latest and greatest AI though. So like it, the OG AI, I guess, was born in machine learning. It was really just advanced machine learning. And so you poison the data, you poison the model, you manipulate inputs, and you do it with ill intent. Like you're skewing the machine learning for whatever your goal is, right? And so now map that to today, where generative AI is at the root of a lot of technologies that are all the rage now. It's a similar thing. Poison the data, poison the model, like whether it's through training data or just bad inputs. I think Anthropic did a ton of research on this and made a bunch of noise because they must have great publicists. They're doing it again
They're doing
this
it again.
week.
It's true.
Watch them cybersecurity stocks fall. It's time.
Yeah.
But anyway, like they showed that you could poison models of all sizes with like a certain number of like malicious documents or inputs or whatever. And so like the, it really feels like this is the sort of next iteration on that ML security top 10. It's just being called something different.
Because like it evolved is kind of what I'm
Right.
thinking, is
It's
that
kind of
it
like how however many years between the OWASP top 10 for web apps, right? Like the new one just came out and you could see the progression from the last one to this one and how things change. Now for ML to LLM, I know they're not necessarily the same, but you can see the progression in technology and risk.
Mhm. So one of them I want to talk about too is the model theft. I thought that one was interesting. I don't know, it jumps out to me when you
Yeah.
were reading them out. I'm just going off the fly and being like, okay, I think this one's most, but model theft attack occurs when an attacker gains access to the model's parameters. That's
Yeah.
interesting.
So this sounds like getting the system prompt for
Mhm.
LLMs.
Yeah. So getting the under, like, so when we hear some of those, what was it, ChatGPT or Copilot, what, a couple months ago, or I don't know, times fluid or whatever, but I think 6 months ago, where you could like get into the under parameters. That's kind of what that is saying here.
Yeah, like you can get them, potentially modify them. I mean, what do attackers like to do? They like to get the information or reverse engineer it, whatever, because that informs them on how to break it and use it for what they wish to use it for. Or, I mean, it depends on your motivations, right? If you want to cause damage, you're going to use that information to cause damage. If you can use it for monetary gain or extortion or whatever, that's what you're going to use it for if you can.
Mm,
I mean, theft is a big thing in cybersecurity. If you want to steal data or software or whatever, so it's not surprising if someone develops a really advanced machine learning model that someone's going to want to steal it.
yeah, makes sense. I mean, I really want to click into the supply chain attack one, but I think
I
that's just
feel like that one's going to be a big theme. I already know it's going to be in our consolidated top 10.
yeah,
So
yeah.
it's like how much we could probably do a whole episode on that one.
Yeah, it's I mean, it's an interesting one and it's a consistent theme, so maybe that's why we should call it out.
Yeah.
All right. It says the description here is machine learning supply chain attacks threatens actors or threat actors target the supply chain of machine learning models. This category is broad and important. All right, I agree.
Yes.
I agree.
It can have its own top 10.
Yeah, that's what it sounds like because this whole description is it's broad and it's important as software chain and machine learning includes even more elements than in the case of classic software. It consists of specific elements such as ML ops platforms, data management platforms, model management platforms, and my camera just went out. Model hub and specialized types of software that enable machine learning to engineers to be effective and deploy software. So yeah, it makes sense that it's kind of a bit of everything.
Yeah, I mean, like think about the supply chain attacks we've been seeing with Trivia all the way through Light LLM and the rest of them in the past 2 3 weeks. I know I just didn't do that justice, but I'm sticking with it because I can't remember them all anymore.
Yeah.
It's like on to the next thing. But if you compromise the supply chain, you inject the malicious behavior, and like, what's your goal? Now stealing credentials is all the rage, but in the past it may have been to modify or poison the model to mess up someone's business or extract data or whatever it may have been.
Yeah. Well, that leads us into and is there any other ones you wanted to call out in that one, or do you want to jump to the MML one?
I mean, I think we want to go to the ML because it's, again, like I said, it's the progression. We're going to see a lot of common themes in this one, so that's why we're talking about them at the same time, really.
Yeah. So the large language model 2025 edition has prompt injection as the number one. That makes sense. And then for number two, sensitive information disclosure, supply chain for number three. And for number four, data and model poisoning, which we just talked about. Number five, input or improper output handling. Number six, excessive agency. I kind of want to talk about that one. And then number
Yep.
seven, system prompt leakage. Number eight, vector and embedding weakness. That one sounds interesting. Is that assume this like vector stores or something? Number nine, misinformation, and number 10, unbounded consumption. Some of those, like, those are the ones that I'm really interested. Right, I'm really interested in. Was it improper output handling, excessive agency, vector and embedding weakness, and unbounded consumption? That sounds interesting. I assume unbounded consumption is like you're using all your tokens or something. That's what it feels like.
It goes bananas and it doesn't stop, right?
Yeah.
But like as you're going through those, I was still looking at the ML top 10 and just like I think it's even more like there's even more overlap because, for example, like improper output handling, like output integrity attack is in the ML.
Mhm.
Um, I the poisoning ones we already talked about. But let's go into the interesting LLM.
Yeah, well, I want to
Um,
go into the unbounded consumption first. We'll do
yeah,
number 10 first.
because
So,
this one's unique. It's newer. It's not directly mapped to ML or anything.
yeah. Attacks designed to disrupt service and deplete the target's financial sources resources, or even steal intellectual property by cloning the model's behaviors, all dependent on common class vulnerabilities. Oh, okay, so that's cool. That's interesting. So it's like a tool vector, two kind of different attack surface. It's essentially like a DDoS, right? You're
Yeah.
taking out all their tokens and causing a giant bill. I think we've all been worried about that. Chatbots, everybody's like, you got to, if you're going to put up a chatbot, you have to be very cognizant to not allow it to fall into a dangerous loop where it's just consistently consuming tokens. God, I can't remember it off the top of my head, but there was somebody who was saying, somebody's telling me about some way to like tell an LLM to like fall into a loop where it just sits there and consumes tokens. And then the other one, I thought the second part's really interesting. Even to steal intellectual property by cloning the model's behavior, which isn't there a class action lawsuit or something with some companies where somebody was like probing, I can't remember if it was Claude or somebody's model, and then was using that and building and scaling their model off that, or their chatbot off that. And there was like some kind of lawsuit happening, being like, you were literally training your model off our model. And that's like
Yeah.
copy, like infringement or something.
Yeah, like it's like the term. It's probably in the terms of use, and so they have legal ground to stand on. Disclaimer: I'm not a lawyer, but although sometimes I feel like I have to be in this industry.
True
Um,
that.
if only I went and got a law degree, but that's a lot of money and a lot of time.
A lot of time. Yeah, I was gonna
But
say.
I think the unbounded consumption, it's super broad, right? Like there's multiple ways to blow this thing up, whether it's you're using excessive resources on the machine and kind of breaking it down, denial of service to everyone else using it, or you're burning through financial resources and you're negatively impacting whoever's hosting that, or the cloud consumption on the resources, the tokens, whatever. Like there's so many ways that you can consume with LLMs and they can be costly.
Yeah.
And the fact that you can instruct the thing to be like, go nuts, and it is like, sure, I will do whatever you tell me to.
Yeah. I'm reading through the next one. I just dived in because I'm really interested in the next one. Sorry.
Yeah, vector and embedding weaknesses. This one is obviously popular for LLMs because we know that they operate on vectors. And I mean, generative AI, it literally takes input and generates output based on data. It's the transformer architecture. I'm not going to try to do it justice here. I highly recommend going to read about it. That's
Yes.
at the base of all of these things. And so it's like predicting the next text and scoring. It's super complex. I can never build one of these things,
No.
but I put my architect hat on. I'm like, that picture makes sense, but go try to build it. Nope, can't do it.
Yeah. Yeah, it looks like the common examples of this one is unauthorized access and data leakage, cross context information leakage, and federation knowledge conflict. That's interesting. So, like data federation conflict errors with multiple sources that contradict one another. Oh, okay. So you're like,
You can
it sounds
fuse
like,
the AI.
yeah, it sounds kind of a little like poisoning, like in a way. Yeah, well,
Yeah,
data number 4, data poisoning in there as a sub attack. Okay, so it makes sense. Hmm. Interesting one. These are,
it's weird that like data poisoning shows up under that one when data and model poisoning is literally one of the top 10.
yeah, that is there is some overlap
There's
between, yeah,
overlap
vector.
even between the different top 10 items. Like,
Yeah. Yeah, that is an interesting one. And I think the last one is excessive agency. That one makes sense. I think off the top of my head, if I had to guess, it's probably just over permissioned.
so it's you're giving it the AI too much autonomy, and
Yeah.
over permissioned is probably part of that.
Yeah.
So
I'm
I
reading through.
think one of the key mitigations that's often noted on this one is enforce least privilege. But then we
Yep.
can get into the debate of what does that look like for AI because
Dude,
it's not
NHIs.
deterministic. And
Sorry.
oh my
AI
god,
NHIs.
yeah, NHIs are all AI. No, they're not. We went over this last week. Stop it. And there should be AI identities. AII.
Yeah. So excessive agency is just proper, guardrails, making sure that you're using this
Right.
privilege, put guardrails in there, make sure it doesn't have access to things it shouldn't have, and only should have
Don't let it
access to
go
things
off
it
the
should.
rails.
Yeah, that makes sense. Is there one you want to call out, or we'll jump to the next one?
I mean, I'm not. I kind of
That's
called
all.
like 4 or 5 of these out already, mapping it to the ML. So I think let's move on to the next one, which is the next sort of logical progression that we've all seen in AI, and
Yeah,
that's agentic applications.
yeah. I've got to apparently find the right one. It's only a download source. You want
Yeah,
to call it out?
that one's only in PDF. I've got my nice little summarized list here, so I'll run through these and hopefully they're correct. Because I did it when I was half asleep. But anyway, first one, agent goal hijack. That sounds fun. Second one, tool misuse and exploitation. Number 3, identity and privilege abuse. You can start seeing where there's overlap
Candy and
already.
Shy's.
Number 4, agentic supply chain vulnerabilities.
Oh,
Hello,
it's three
supply
for three.
chain.
3 through 3.
3 for 3. Number 5, unexpected code execution. So RCE vulnerabilities. Anyone?
Yeah. Yeah.
Number 6, memory and context poisoning. Again, we like to poison things, I guess.
That's three for
Number
three too.
7, yep, poisoning shows up a lot. It's like, wow, this is morbid. But anyway, number 7, insecure interagent communication.
Mm.
Number 8, cascading failures. That one I think is really interesting. Number 9, human agent trust exploitation. So this sounds a lot like social engineering to some degree, but with computers.
Yeah, human
Um,
loop kind of thing.
yeah, well, I think we can get into that more, but for me, that one's a lot like AI trusts everything, and now humans want to trust AI for everything. And it's like that's a recipe for disaster because we often say trust but verify in this industry.
True.
So check the outputs. And then the last one, rogue agents, scary things.
Those are all good. I
But
like them, but
it is a really good list.
it is a really, really good list. So this is by far my favorite one, and each one makes sense. But then looking at it the broader whole again, I think this is the key theme. There's a lot of overlap, but again, it all comes back and makes sense because the underlying technology is very much similar. It's just a different
Yeah,
package that these things are being used in. We're
right.
talking about agentic applications, so maybe they run without the human in the
I
loop
mean,
or
they're
minimal human in the
built
loop.
on LLMs,
Yep,
which
it's
are
built on machine
a
learning.
natural progression of machine learning. So it's like
It's almost like it
the
makes sense.
it makes total like I'm logical to a fault. Like my wife hates when I'm just super logical. Sometimes you don't need to be. Um, but like here I'm just like this makes total sense. I wonder why. But at the same time, like we've gone from 2023 to 2026 at this point in the years that these top 10s have come out. And we're seeing the same risks over and over, sometimes with slightly different names. So why aren't we solving for them as an industry?
Well, I mean, I think we've talked about it
Or
before.
trying,
They're trying. There's a technology issue, right? From
still
AppSec,
figuring
from
it out.
we don't have the proper tools because that always lags. We are process. People are still learning and understanding how this is used. And every time we think we get it,
Yep.
oh, there's a whole new development or use case pattern. So we get that, and then there's an excessive need of adoption in the sense that we're not speeding up, we're not keeping up. We can't keep up because you got to, everybody's contract is like you got to burn 10,000 tokens today. Like if you don't, you're gone. So gotta
Yeah.
burn those tokens.
Yeah. I mean, I'll happily burn them if that means I get a better performance rating, I guess. I mean, that's just sounds weird, but sure.
All right. Well, which one do you
Um,
want to jump into?
well, I already the human aids and trust exploitation one for me is really interesting because, like, I've always really been interested in social engineering, kind of how people operate, and like people who read people or people watching is always interesting. Like for
I
some
love
reason,
people
we just
watching.
have this natural curiosity. Like watch people; it's entertaining. There's a book by I think the author is like David Navarro. who's like former FBI or whatever, can read micro expressions. It's called What Every Body Is Saying. It's
Mhm.
basically saying this is how you read people. Like that type of stuff is super interesting. And now you're applying that to like humans and AI together. So now we're talking about like human computer interaction, which was a like huge field of research back when I was at the university. Um, and so exploiting the fact that people trust the AI solution and they can manipulate humans based on that is essentially what it is. And so that could come in a bunch of different forms. Like you could poison the model, you could poison the data, whatever. And then people are kind of like, I'm going to trust what it tells me. So anytime someone's like, well, Claude said, I'm like, did you verify that? Don't just take don't take what it says and trust it. It's like, don't believe everything you've read on the internet. Guess what these things are trained on?
Yeah, that reminds me. There was somebody I was talking to or something I was listening to where they were like the new attack vectors are essentially poisoning the data that these things are pulling up on the step by step because everybody just goes to like I have this problem. They Google the terms, and then like say you have like a Windows update error, you'll Google that, and then you'll just copy paste, right? Literally copy
Yeah.
paste with the steps. People are starting to be like, okay, how can we train or get into the LLM so that when somebody has an issue, boom, it'll automatically take them to a malicious link or do something malicious, and people just trust it like it is, and it's like you can't just trust everything that's coming your way.
I mean, that's a recipe for disaster too, because like it's going to operate on whatever it's given. So if it's a malicious instruction, which obviously that shows up in like prompt injection, it's going to act on it. And I think everyone's like, are we ever going to solve prompt injection? Probably not, because you can't differentiate between data and instructions. And now we're having these conversations around, this will lead into the one I can see you're itching to talk about, around
Mission.
governing agents. Like we're seeing people take agents to serve as a governor for other agents to try and like analyze intent and the rest of it. But that, I don't know if that actually solves the problem. I haven't seen anyone confirm that it solves the problem around rogue agents.
Yep. That's the one I want to talk about. Number 10, rogue agents. I think this is a very relevant one. What was it? Amazon just recently said, hey, we're going to tone back our agents or committing things because
Yeah.
somebody took down, I can't remember what they took down. They took down something, caused an outage, caused an issue.
And
Agents,
it was
rogue
like
agents.
DNS or something.
Yeah, DNS. I mean, it's always DNS. It's literally always DNS,
Of
right?
course.
It's literally always
It's
DNS.
not, it's truth and a joke.
Yeah, true. And that one I always think is interesting because that's where everyone wants to go. Everybody wants to head and remove the human out of the loop and have these agents be able to, the running joke that I always say is I'll be in my bed and I'll hop on Telegram and just say, hey, code my work for the day. Here's the 10 things I need you to do. And then I go back to sleep and then I wake up and I'm like, boom, all my
Done.
tickets are done. But
But you pushed the prod on Friday and it went down.
yeah, it went down. So rogue agents, they're malicious or they're compromised in one way or another, and they deviate from intended functions to cause harm, deception, and do it. I like how they say parasitically within multi-agent and human agent ecosystems. Whew, that is like good writing. I like it. So
Yeah. That's an
definitely an interesting
interesting way
one.
to put it. A parasitic agent.
Yeah, yeah. Which kind of makes sense. I don't know, when you're sitting down and think about it, you're like, okay, it kind of makes sense. But
Yeah.
in the respect of time, let's go to MCPs, the good and fun MCPs. This one is done in 2025. Number one is token mishap and secret exposure. I believe that one we've seen in some other ones in a way. Number two
Yeah.
is privilege escalation via scope creep. We've seen
It
permission
is.
level things, so that's a repeat. Number three is tool poisoning, repeat. Number four
So
is
much
supply
poisoning.
chain and attack or software supply chain attacks and dependency tampering. We've seen that one,
Hello, supply chain.
right? Number
Good to see you
five,
again.
command injection and execution. All right. Again, those five seem pretty consistent across everything we've seen. Number six,
Yep.
intent flow subversion. That one we may have to look at. I remember reading it a long time ago and I have forgot it.
Malicious instructions, I think, is the simplest way to put that one.
Simplest way to put it. Okay. Number 7 is insufficient authentication and authorization. That makes sense. That was a big thing with when MCPs came out, right? The original spec had no authentication in it, and they had to roll that secondary. So that was a whole thing.
Here we are talking about privileges again.
Yeah, it brings you back to what, 2024 or something, or 2025, early 2025.
Identity. We're 4 for 4 on identity.
It's and it's crazy to think that MCP hasn't even reached like 2 years of age. And that it's moved that far. I just always think about that. Like, dude,
we're talking about it far less already too, but it's got its own top 10. So we're talking about it, and its successor is next.
Yeah. Number 8 is lack of audit and telemetry. What makes sense? Number 9.
I'm surprised that one doesn't show up in more of these, honestly.
Yeah, true. Number 9 is shadow MCP servers. Oof, that one hits. That one, I feel that one
hurts.
That's what I'm saying. It hits in the wrong way. Number 10 is context injection and oversharing. It's a good
Don't
top
put
10.
Your financials in AI.
It's a good top 10, and this one is one of the ones that I kind of feel is most of them, at least more compared to the others, is very unique. But it also had a lot of overlap. The first 5 felt like complete overlap to like other ones.
I think there's very common themes amongst all of these. It's some sort of poisoning. Poisoning shows up in literally every single one of them. Something to do with identity, whether it's privilege escalation, authentication, or authorization, and like command injection. Like those are the big themes that are top of mind for me so far, and we're 2/3 of the way through the 6.
Yeah. So I'm looking at the intent flow subversion, and it's, as you said, it's a malicious intent or subverting the instructions with other instructions. So maybe the MCP server has in there some kind of something to insert extra instructions or something along those lines that deviates from the original goal or flow. Makes sense.
And so it hijacks their intent and does something else.
The shadow MCP one and servers, that one just makes sense. We were all talking about it's still a thing. It's been the number one guidance that everyone's been saying is you got to know all your AI, so you got to detect, and shadow MCPs are just like so easy to spin up and have them that you got to be able to have some way to detect it.
Right. We've gone from shadow IT to shadow AI to shadow MCP servers. It's all connected.
Yeah.
It's that I think with AI and MCP servers and agentic applications, they're just being put everywhere, and not necessarily all tooling that we have to instrument the environment can see all of this. And so, like, you often hear like Aaron Turner, when you hear him talk about MCP servers, he's like, treat them as malware. Don't let them run locally.
Yeah. True. Well,
and that's an effort to not only have visibility, but actually control and know what's happening in your environment.
Yeah. Very much. I'd say in interest of time, let's go to agent skills.
And this one's also an evolution of MCP because skills are what everyone's talking about now.
Yeah. You want to run through that one?
So, number 1, malicious skills.
Okay.
No surprise there. Here you go. Guess what number 2 is? Supply chain compromise, 5 for 5. Number 3, overprivileged access. Here we go again. All 5 of them. Number 4, insecure metadata. We haven't heard this one yet. Number 5, prompt injection via skill instructions. Prompt injection is back, everybody. Number 6, weak isolation. Number 7, update drift. Number 8, poor scanning. Number 9, no governance.
No governance. That's the first time we've seen governance, right? Yeah.
It's about time. Number 10, cross-platform reuse. That one could be super interesting.
The insecure metadata kind of reminds me, as I'm thinking about it, reminds me of the subversion. Because it's that's the whole point, right? Subversion says that deviating from what the intended use was.
Right.
Insecure
It's like
metadata is the same.
I'm going to tell you that I'm going to do one thing, but I'm going to do something else. And
Yeah.
so that's where I inject my malicious instructions because you think it's going to go make you $1 million. Not, and little do you know, I stole all of your crypto.
Yeah. So Trojan horse then? It's
It's
just
just
Trojan
malware.
vulnerabilities. Yeah, malware again. Okay, okay. Which one? What other one did you want to talk about? Governance, or I don't know. We'll get to
No
governance.
governance is. I mean, I'll give you a preview. This is one that I put in my top 10 for sure. Um, I've said it loudly. I've said it before. I said it in the intro. I hate compliance theater. If you're doing governance without enforcement, that is security theater. So no governance belongs in all of the lists, as far as I'm concerned.
I agree. It's in my list too. So we'll go to NHIs now. We already talked about these last episode, so I'm going to go through them quick because we've already
Yeah.
talked about them. So in that one, number one, improper offboarding. Number two, secret leakage. Number three, vulnerable third party NHIs. That one's just non-human identities that are integrated into the flow. Okay. Number four, insecure authentication. Number five, overprivileged NHIs. Permissions issues there. So we've seen that one. Does this one not have supply chain? Number six is insecure cloud deployment configurations. I figured this one wouldn't have it. Number seven,
That's basically part of a supply chain, though.
is that one? That one feels supply. It does say like continuous
It's like
integration and
where
continuous.
you're injecting secrets or using NHIs in your CI/CD pipeline, for example. It's part of the supply chain.
Yeah, I guess that one could be rebranded in there. Yeah. Number seven is long-lived secrets. Number eight is environment isolation. Number nine, NHI reuse, and then number 10, human use of NHI. Yeah, so
I think it's wholly identity focused, right? And so we've been talking about how identity has shown up in all of them, and then lo and behold, Cameron's frozen again. There's a whole top 10 just for non-human identities because I mean I've said this in past episodes that AI agents need to have their own identity. And frankly, you and I have had this conversation with certain vendors in the NHI space as recent as this week that essentially, when it comes to accountability and ownership, every action or NHI agent, whatever, someone has to be accountable. You have to map it back to a human, or else it's just going to go it's bananas. It's chaos.
chaos is my camera.
Chaos is your camera. It came back and like 3 seconds later, it disappeared again. So Cameron is just a camera logo.
All right, well, let's
Cameraman.
go into your top 10, or do you want me to go in? We have our consolidated top 10. I really want to know, can we like, you read yours, I'll read mine, and we'll kind of alternate?
Let me find it. There's too many things open. I want to hear yours because you came up with funny names, and I kind of want to like throw it to Claude and be like, give me some fun names right now.
Unfair.
But
Get my
I'm not going to try to do that live. Cameron's off in the distance getting his camera. So I guess the obvious one that we already agree on we could start with is like no governance, or I would call it unenforced governance, or you can say governance without enforcement. I think a lot of organizations are putting governance, so to speak, in place, and they're saying these are our rules for using AI. And then you have like committees and bodies who just get together and say whether something's allowed or not. And that's fine. You have a way to approve and not approve things, but you have to enforce that, or else people are just going to go do whatever they have to do or what they want to do to use AI and accomplish things. Just like AI will use whatever permissions you give it to accomplish the task at hand.
Makes sense. So
And
that was
then
your first one?
I just put that, like, I don't have them in any sort of priority order. I just named no governance as the one that stands out because you and I already agreed, like, that's in in the list. Although
Yeah,
I do want to know the fun version of that from your list. So if you've got it, now's the time.
I do have it. Of governance. Well, but I want to go through mine from top to bottom.
All right, fine, let's do it. And then I'll tell you if I disagree with any. The problem we run into is that we spend so much time talking about this together that we often agree on a lot of it. And
Yeah.
so I'm
All right.
I'm
My
interested to
number
see where
one.
we disagree.
My number one is the model. It's called number. It's called. I did CW AI 01 2026. The model believes everything in quotations. Prompt injection. So, because
All
I was like,
right.
most of them have some way or another. Everything we talked about had a prompt injection. AI systems
Yes.
can't reliably tell the difference between limited legitimate instructions and can't. This landed in number one in most, like a bunch of them. So I was like, that makes no sense. What was your number one again?
I have prompt injection in there. Like I can go top to bottom too, but again, we're going to agree. So prompt injection's on mine, or I called it input manipulation. There's so many different names we can give it. So we have unenforced governance or no governance, however you want to say it, input manipulation or prompt injection. I've got the poisoning in my list.
Am I poisoning mine in somewhere? Or actually, I think I don't. All right, my number two
But
then.
poisoning is model and data poisoning, but it's also kind of like output poisoning. It's a human brain poisoning. It's misinformation. So I'd put all of those in that three in the same category and have like sub risks under each of them.
Hmm, that makes sense. Yeah. Mine is my number two is I said npm install malware in parentheses supply chain.
Jen would love that.
Right, that's my number two. Is just npm install
I
malware.
supply chain is actually in the list that I banged out in about 10 minutes earlier.
Yeah,
Supply chain was actually my number two.
that makes sense. All right. So yeah, what I wrote underneath is attack surfaces span modules, plugin registries, packages, datasets, and anything else that can be pulled in. So supply chain or AI supply chain looks a lot like supply chain circus from 2025.
It is a circus.
It is a circus. Um, Number three for me is the robot stole my secrets. So data and secret leakage.
Yeah, let's see, where is that in my list? I've got credential and secrets exposure at number three. That's weird. Are we gonna
Dude,
get camera?
I'm
Your
never gonna
camera
get this
just,
camera
I
back.
think it gave up, man.
It
It
gave up.
was
I've
like,
unplugged it 7 times. Like nothing's coming back. I need to
oh,
reboot
you
the
can just
PC.
you could put a picture of yourself in there with the magic of editing, and then
Yeah. So
it'll
then
be fun.
number four for me was we never thought to block that. Malicious usage. Someone is using your AI to write phishing emails, bypass your controls, generate authentic frauds at scale. You knew this was possible before you shipped it.
Yeah, I think that I don't think I actually have that one in my list. So we actually differ on at least one.
Yeah. The
I
number
mean, well, I don't know, maybe not. I have agent compromise or agent failure, which includes like drift or hijacking or whatever, right? Like there's a bunch of different flavors of that. So I guess it's loose. It's kind of both there.
Mhm.
All right, number five.
Number five is I can't see it, so it doesn't exist. Essentially, shadow detection. You don't know what's running. You don't know what it can reach. You don't know when it last ran or what it did. Most orgs I talk to can't answer all three questions right now. This isn't a future risk.
Yeah, I mean, this is one of those that's kind of like it feels like it's forever going to be a risk. Um, I don't have the whole shadow AI thing explicitly in my list. Something that's close to it that I kind of harped on before is insufficient logging and audit, because you need that accountability. And
Hmm.
so it's related. It's not exactly the same, but again, you need to have accountability. Who owns it? What's it doing? If things go off the rails and you have an incident, you need to be able to piece things back together and explain yourself.
Yeah, makes sense. My number 6 is hold my root access. Parentheses, privilege abuse. So something got more access than it needed doing a task. So yeah, we
Yeah,
just
I've got excessive privileges or agency on mine. So again, similar.
similar. Yeah. I mean, we looked at these and it makes sense. My number 7 is new phone. Who dis? Identity failures.
Yeah,
So
as again, the identity problem is very real. So excessive privileges again, or for me, I have like agentic privilege escalation, because often they'll have different levels of access, and you could chain requests together and essentially get a bunch of access that you shouldn't have had in the first place. But without maintaining the context between calls, you'll never be able to enforce it.
yeah, yeah, exactly. I was considering combining number 6 and number 7 because there's one I didn't put on the list and I just didn't have time to combine it.
Yeah.
Which was like I didn't. Spoiler: I didn't add a vibe coding or any kind of vibe coding thing in there, which I should have. I was thinking about it. I just didn't have time.
It'll
But
get its own top 10. Don't worry.
yeah, it'll get its own top 10. No worries. Number 8 is it'll stop eventually. And that is shielding and timeout. So like kind of guardrails. I was like, we wanted something around guardrails, and so I was like, all right, shielding, guardrails, and I was like, okay, it'll stop eventually because eventually it'll hit a wall, right? One of your guardrails will pop in, right? Right, guys, right?
Assuming you put some in place. So again, governance without enforcement is theater. So you need guardrails.
Yeah.
Now, guardrails aren't super well defined yet. I think the industry is going in a lot of different directions to try and identify the right pattern or patterns for this, but we don't have the right recipes yet.
Yep. Agreed. And my number 9 is why does this chatbot have a gun? And it's over permissioned. Essentially, stuff being over provisioned, which again, it kind of bumps into all three. And I was like, bah, I don't know. I feel like this is a pattern. Um, my
You're
list
on the
wasn't trying
identity
to.
train today.
I wasn't trying to. I know I was. I wasn't trying to be like cover the whole span, right? Because I could. We
Yeah.
can get into my other one, my more serious one, but this is the fun one. And my number 10, I have emojis that are checkboxes, and it says checked the box. And that's government governance checkboxes. So I was like, I need to have governance on there, and I had to have checkboxes because it's just that's what we have to do, right? There's documentation. It got approved.
Well, you know how that makes me feel. I started the episode saying I have no patience for it, and I still don't.
Yeah,
My blood pressure just rose
just rose.
because someone said check boxes. So I think, I mean, I did a consolidated sort of AI top 10 based on the 60 that we have, and I
Yeah.
think your custom list and my custom list also mirror that. So like I have agent compromise, I have supply chain compromise, I have credential and secrets exposure, information disclosure, and data loss, which I'm surprised you didn't mention,
Well, because
because
this
data
was
leakage is real.
it's true, but so in my real list, we can go. I'll go over my real list after you finish yours. But in my real list, it's in there.
Yeah, excessive privileges, excessive. I'm losing my words, man. Excessive privileges and agency, input manipulation, and for whatever reason, I noted on that one, like we need to monitor intent. Which, yeah, that's easy. No, I'm being sarcastic. If you couldn't tell. Next one, unenforced governance. Already beat
There
that
you
one
go.
up pretty bad.
I like how you put that
Model.
unenforced governance. Like we should take a second on that. I think it's really important the way you phrase that. It makes so much sense that you're saying it that way because a lot of the other controls, when they did, it just said no governance. But
Yeah,
we have a lot of security theater in governance. A lot of the
that's
frameworks
it.
and compliance frameworks we deal with are one-time audits, and even then they scratch just a surface level. All of us know this. I mean, what was that big sock 2 thing that just happened or that was
Oh
exposed?
yeah,
Like
I
that is a
forget
whole thing.
the
That is security theater. That's a checkbox. Was it devolve or something, or delve or
Delve. That
delve,
was
right?
it. They're like hundreds of SOC 2s were basically exactly the same with the name changed on them.
Yeah, there's like 500 and something I heard. And
Yeah. It's, and it was, I think they had VC funding from a very like prestigious, I don't know, it was one of the popular VCs in the technology space.
yeah.
But anyway, I digress. Unenforced governance. I've struggled with those words. Like I didn't want to say no governance because, and why I landed in the wording that I did is because often when I talk to people or what I see is we establish governance, but then no one goes and enforces it. Like our existing tooling can do a bit of this, it can't do all of it, and that requires investment to close the gaps. So people just kind of like, yeah, well, I have no budget, so I'm not going to do anything about it. It really grinds my gears. From there, I went to model poisoning and misinformation, agentic privilege escalation, like I talked about the chaining. And then last, I had the insufficient logging and audit because we need accountability when it comes to AI.
Yeah. Okay. I mean, I think all those make sense. Makes sense. So, I mean, I know we're pushing up against time, but here's my actual proper, not funny, just straight up me trying to condense everything into one list. And I think the themes will make sense as we go through this. Number one, injection slash input manipulation. Number two, supply chain compromise. Number three, excessive agency and over permissioned identity. Number four, credential and secret exposure. Number five, data and model poisoning. Number six, identity lifecycle failures. Number seven, rogue and malicious components. Like that one I thought was interesting because I combined it
Yeah.
a whole bunch of different, misuse, metadata, subversion, and like rogue agents into one. Makes sense. Number eight, isolation and blast radius failures. This is combining all those guardrails that we have to put around
Yeah.
all the different, each one. So it's like, okay, that makes sense. Number nine, sensitive data disclosure and interference. Okay, that solves all the data
Yep.
poisoning, all the different data kind of level attacks. Number 10, governance and observability gaps. I kind of want to change that now that you said what you did. I would change that to something else to be a little more proactive, but I still feel like it has proactive by adding observability gaps because I was trying to combine and make it very interactive. I think I nailed it. And when when we were going over each top 10, I was like, my actual serious list covers like I think I did a pretty good job. Covers most
Yeah.
of all of them. So we could condense all six of these into one top 10.
Are we seeing the next OWASP project come to life as we
It's not
speak?
me. It's not me. No, I'm not doing that. Not diving into that
Oh,
hole. No, sir.
like I've got one. I'm not doing another.
Ugh, the SPVS is enough work for me. So, but I mean,
Yeah.
anything else you kind of want to say? I think this was really cool. It was really interesting diving into all these and understanding kind of the big attack vectors. It really illustrates that there is a common theme, which makes sense because the underlying AI slash technology underneath the hood is fundamentally the same. So you're going to see the same attack vectors with a slight twist. And that's going to keep happening, I assume, as we keep changing how we change that. So it comes back to my original question: is can we collapse these into one model or in one and have a subset of that? Like I think it's feasibly possible.
Yeah, I think it is, and I mean we just tried to do it in a very short amount of time. So I think it can be done, but what we'll end up seeing is that they're just 10 very high level statements, and the only way to tackle them and actually address the risk is you're going to have a breakdown of subcomponents underneath each one. But at least then you have a mapping and it's all together in a single consolidated form, right? So I would
Yeah.
love to see that. I would love to contribute to it. So maybe someone out there is listening and gets inspired, and we actually make this come to life.
True. Well, and what I'm thinking too is the OS top 10 for web app. that we currently already have that. OS top 10 for CI/CD, SPVS mirrors
Right.
that and more. The ASVS is up to a couple hundred controls, and that
Yep.
covers that. That's a subset of that, and that's how they enforce it. So I don't know. I think there's two different philosophies and mentalities, and this has always been a great debate around the OS top tens and top tens in general. So I could see it both ways. I could see it both ways. I think it might be digestible, more easier to do it if it was one thing. My
Yeah.
other concern is I imagine two worlds we're heading to with compliance when more and more compliance frameworks and compliance requirements come out, like I don't know, the Cyber Resilience Act. Maybe they adopt an AI section and they say in there, hey, you've got to follow. Do they say all the OS top tens? And so then they just list all of them, right? Is that what we're headed to? Or is it, if we'd have one, is that going to make it more of an adoption to these things? Because now they only have to call out one item rather than 6 items. I don't know.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's like we should note like ISO 42001 is very real, and that's the AI management
Hmm.
framework. Um, I haven't read that one cover to cover, but I know that there's a lot of companies that are pursuing certification in that space. So that is the sort of the first iteration of it. Now, do we see OWASP and ISO come together at some point? Because a lot of times over time, they start to you start to see commonalities, right, or even reference between the two. So it'll be interesting to see how it continues to evolve. It's been fast and furious so far, and so it's gonna. I fully expect it to continue.
Yeah. All right. Well, any last imparting thoughts before, or is that were those your last imparting thoughts?
I think that's it. Enforce your governance.
Yep.
Do that.
Make it proactive and
Be
a continuous
proactive.
process.
Don't wait for a breach to respond.
Hmm. Wise words.
Yeah.
Wise words.
Yeah.
All
Well,
right.
we took 60, turned it into 10. It's been real. And of course, as expected, we agreed on a lot of it. I
Yeah.
feel like between the two of us, we got all 60 and maybe like 12. So we could make a 10 out of it.
I think we
We
can
could
make it
get
10.
there.
Yeah. Little
Yeah.
work, a little more time.
So,
We get it. Well,
yeah.
let's take us out. It looks like you finished your coffee. It's run dry.
Coffee is gone. Perfect timing. Coffee's out. We've condensed 60 risks into 10. 5 stars, like, subscribe, smash the smash, as our great friend Cameron here has
It's bananas.
finally. It is bananas. That's the quote of all quotes for Coffee Chaos and ProdSec. So it's been real. We appreciate you all joining. This is Coffee Chaos and ProdSec. We'll see you all next week.